Happy Friday, guys, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Dubs. I'm your host, Bill T. Well, it's Friday, and there's another podcast coming to you. And today's podcast, we're doing a roundtable podcast with myself, Andy Finch, and Tory Alonso. We're going to do a wrap-up show about One Crazy Weekend. But before we get into that, I wanted to remind you guys, don't forget to support those who support Let's Talk Dubs. Subscribe today at vwtrendsmagazine.com. That's vwtrendsmagazine.com, not the same old print magazine that you see on the shelf. Also, go pick up some cool parts from Ross Wolf, our sponsor. High quality aftermarket parts for enthusiasts, by enthusiasts. Go check out their new line of parts at their website today, rosswolf.com. That's Wolf with a U, rosswolf.com. So we're going to get into some show talk today. We're going to discuss some of the ins and outs, the things that happen at the show, and get into some of those details. So without any further ado, guys, we're going to get into it this week. Roundtable, Andy Finch, Tory Alonso, and yours truly on Let's Talk Dubs.
You probably don't know that there's a new Volkswagen out that doesn't look like a Volkswagen. It's got everything that people who like the bug like.
Okay, everybody. So on the podcast today, I've got Andy Finch. Say hello.
Hello.
Oh, his microphone's muted. One more time. Andy Finch, say hello.
Hello, mate.
All right. Tory Alonso.
What's going on?
All right. So we got two other guys that were here at One Crazy Weekend, and what we're gonna be discussing today is obviously the weekend was pretty. If you guys follow Let's Talk Those podcast and you follow those that follow us, you guys would have known that we kind of. The internet was not the same this weekend, and I mean that in a great way. Like there was so much content that a couple content creators, Driven 60 VW and Volk Stuff, and a bunch of other people that recorded a lot of content. So the internet seemed like it got broke by One Crazy Weekend. Andy, you're obviously here on vacation.
Yep.
So you've been kind of a little bit of a podcast hog lately, second to Tory. But Tory, you're the guy that Andy's been here before. Tory, this was your first One Crazy Weekend. What did you think about One Crazy Weekend?
I mean, look, without a doubt, it's the most fun I remember ever having at a Volkswagen show. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, I've been to a lot of VW shows, California, Florida, you name it. But your event ticked so many boxes and captured so many different elements of the hobby that you don't normally get with like your typical, I'm going to drive my car here, park it, sit in a chair, talk to some people, and then go home. It was so much more than that.
It's interesting you say that because we keep referring to it as a show, but really it's One Crazy Weekend. It's a weekend event. It's beginning now on Wednesday. There are people coming into town for Wednesday. The event is Friday and Saturday. People are coming to town on Wednesday. Thursday's kind of an open day, but it's really a weekend experience. It's one of those things where it's like the hotel's the base camp, and then Vegas is the backdrop. So we have a few scheduled things that are, I want to call them interactive things, where we're actually part of something bigger. But the reality is there's a lot of freedom and with the sectioned off parking lot just for the people for One Crazy Weekend, you're allowed to come and go kind of as you please with your car, cruise in and out. And every time you show up there, it's like you're pulling into a car show at the time, nonstop. So you obviously, Tory, you had a great time. What was it, Andy? We talked about like the game was count how many cars Tory got to drive of other people's cars. Is that right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And I think I actually lost count on about 30, I think.
Yeah. Every time we turn around, Tory's in someone else's car, driving someone else's car. And people that bring more than one car, sometimes you need some help, right, Tory?
Absolutely. I mean, I was shuttling cars back and forth. I was picking up people from the airport. I was, it was cool. And then, we'll obviously get into all the cars that I drove, but like at one point I went with Russell Ritchie to go put something away in their trailer or with one of the other 67s or something. And so obviously the Aronson Holmes car was there, and Russell was like, hop in, we're going to drive over to where Dean Kirsten's at with his blue 67.
And some of you guys that may not know, some of you guys that are not Cowlook aficionados that don't know the Aronson Holmes car, that is the white 63 ragtop that's on the cover of the February 75 Hot VWs it's been referred to as the first car that was on the Cowlook issue on the cover. So that's a fairly famous car that now resides in Scotland, and that car was here for One Crazy Weekend. I mean, I'd like to take the credit that it was here for One Crazy Weekend, but it was being shipped over for this event, but primarily for next year's 60th, and I think it's the 60th anniversary of DKP's club thing. But yeah, when you get some significant cars like that show up at the event, I mean, we had that car, we had Future Shock there, we had two of my cars, Future Chop, Rag Chop, the one, we had Dean Kirsten's oval, and then you had all the other cars that came out to the event. You had Wayne's car, the 60 Watt, built by Buddy Hell, which is a phenomenal car. I mean, that was the cool part, was seeing all these new cars. We got to see Zorba the Gia for the first time, so that was kind of out on display. So, and then now Spike got to bring his bus out for that. So, I mean, a lot of people have been seeing what you've been posting on Instagram lately, and you've been here, California, you've been all over the place for the past couple weeks that you've been here. What was the experience like for you? I mean, it's one thing to go to shows all the time, and normally in the UK, like last show you went to, you trailered cars, drove cars, and you had like a bunch of people. You bought 4 cars the last show, or 4 or 5 cars, and you go there. It's like pull up, park, and sit, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of on display. You hang out with your buddies, just get some fries, aka chips, and some pints, aka beer. And just sit around and hang out with the guys, right? But to come here to Vegas, right? And you were here last year, and you have a Carmen Ghia that's here.
I do, yeah.
Now, guys, don't think he's really wealthy. It's a beater of a car. I mean, listen, it's all right. I hope you're not scared of Black Widows, but
no,
that
seemed to be.
I got to drive that too, because of course I'm driving everyone's cars. That's one of the best sorted Carmen Ghias I think I've ever driven mechanically. That thing rips. It tracks straight. It's lowered right.
What do you mean it rips?
It's a phenomenal car. I love it.
You push the limits on that car. You squeeze the motor a little bit on that thing, or what?
Yeah, we were playing on the way to breakfast. Yeah, he was in his 21 window, and I was in the Ghia, and we were side by side. The IDAs were making the right noises. It was a blast. So that car is awesome.
So the question was, Spike, what was it like for you cruising the strip in your bus? Like, there's places to cruise and drives to do, but to actually drive down Las Vegas Boulevard in your bus, what was that experience like?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to explain. I mean, I'm sure that most people listening probably would understand just how ridiculous it is to drive down Las Vegas Boulevard anyway, but to do it in your own bus that you've just shipped halfway around the world, it's surreal, to be fair. I mean, it was funny. It was all the good things.
I mean, part of the fun is the goons that you're out there riding with, right? Like you're with Johnny, right? Johnny Osmondson's there.
Johnny's in his car.
Johnny Drama, aka Trouble,
yep,
like he's there.
He's there. We had in our little group. We had
Jason was with you guys. Jason Hall was with you guys cruising.
Yeah,
with you guys?
Jason. That guy's so funny. And we had Nick Romero and his brother and his son. They were rolling with us. I had Buddy Hale and his wife in the Samba with me and my missus. Obviously, Buddy's. You see a different side of him when he comes here, which does make me laugh.
Because I mean, when people get here, it's more of a just kind of a relaxed atmosphere. Everybody's just kind of lay back and just here to enjoy. Like here, it's less about the car show and more about the people, like the meetup. Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's like you've got so many different groups of people where if you go to any other show, and I'm not dissing other shows because everything's different. But I think the reason why this is so right and it works so well is because you look at the people who are just hanging out together. There wasn't like the Cowlook crew, the Baja crew, the custom guys, the stock guys, because the show's all there's no everyone's in it's all mixed up. The whole show is completely mixed up. So you're parked next to someone who you wouldn't normally be parked up with, and it's not. And that is a good thing, because all of a sudden you're talking to a guy who you wouldn't probably normally talk to. So in our group, you've got Johnny Osmondson, you've got Buddy Hale, you've got Jason Hall, you've got Bob Daniels, you got Tory, who's driving someone else's car probably. And everyone's just hanging out and talking and getting on with each other. There's no drama, and we don't like drama. Drama's just it's not good.
It's really more. It's more about the people, and then everybody. I think what happens is you get on the strip. It's one thing to get on the strip by yourself, or if you got to drop somebody off at a hotel. If you're getting on the strip for the purpose to go for a cruise, and you got 3-4 other Volkswagens with you, 5 Volkswagens with you, all of a sudden you start realizing the thousands of people that are on the sides of the strip that are all the hotels and neon lights are fighting for their attention, and then they see all the Volkswagens coming down, and then they just make an about face, turn completely around from the hotel, start holding up their phones, taking video and cameras and all that stuff, and it's like all of a sudden you become the show. I heard someone say that. Someone said, driving down the strip, when we did that, we then became the show.
Absolutely.
And everybody's, and that's what really is. And part of the thing, we build these cars, and I know, I build my car for myself. But we build our cars because we want to look cool in our car. Period. If you're saying you're not aligned with that, you're not telling the truth. So
no, I think you nailed it in the last podcast with the Jacomos as well. Is like, it's the pursuit of cool,
right?
And I mean, it stems back to like us looking at magazines.
Nobody that's trademarks the pursuit of cool. I'm gonna write a book.
Right. Yeah, that needs to be your new shirt or something. But like, it's so true, because like the covers that spoke to us the most as kids were like, you got bikini girls washing your cars in the driveway. All the boys are over there with their cars, and you got the drive-through, and like, that's the pursuit of cool. And when you finally get out on the strip and all these people, like, you're the spotlight, like that, you've found the cool. You're there, you're in it, you're living it.
And as you said that, Tori, I just had this brainstorm idea. Like, what would it be like next year if there was a section where you pulled in and there were bikini girls that would wash your car? I mean, probably half of us would get in trouble with our wives, but if I found a detail company that was run by girls, and let's say maybe they weren't wearing bikinis, but it was kind of like that scene where, like, you look at the old magazines and there's girls washing cars, and when you're 16, you're like, yeah, bro, one day my girl's gonna wear a bikini. I try to tell my wife, like, yeah, but can you put a bikini on and wash my car for me? She's like, why would I do that? I'm like, because you could fulfill my dream. When I used to hold the magazine, and like, but you know what I mean? Like, that would just be another, if there was a detail bay, and maybe an equal opportunity employer owned a detail company owned by some ladies, and they wanted to wash cars.
I mean, look, it's Las Vegas. I don't think you're gonna have a hard time.
Maybe they're dressed
girls
as
to do something
showgirls
for money.
But I was thinking, but what I was honestly thinking about for next year, because obviously this event was packed to the gills. We had to turn people away because there just wasn't any more room in the parking lot.
Well, you didn't actually turn them away. You turned them into the other car park.
Well, yeah, they moved down to the.
Let's get that straight.
The other parking lot turned into like a mini show of the show, and the only problem with it wasn't a cordoned off parking lot, so you had that whole thing where it was kind of just cars haphazardly parked here and there, and so. This year, I actually meet with the casino tomorrow, which if you're listening to this, it's today, it's Friday. And there's a couple adjustments that we're going to make. We're talking about relocating the show to a larger space. If we do that, well, we're going to do that. There's just a couple options of where we go. Depending on how big of a space we get, we'll probably have a big enough space for like a stage or something like that, where maybe we could get a live band to play, or, obviously have the DJ and stuff set up over there. And then probably make room for, because the reason this weekend becomes, it compounds every year and gets bigger, is because people that never come for their first year, and they're like, I remember talking to Steve Dalton's first year back, and he was talking to Steve Weidman. He's like, bro, I'm coming back next year. And he was thinking, like, how do I get 2 cars there next? You know what I mean? Like to just, because it's more of the experience of, we do the strip cruise Friday night. So it's Friday starts off as like a meet and greet day. By Thursday, the day before the show, Thursday evening, there were 85 cars in the car show.
Oh yeah,
area.
It was already packed. Yeah. It was already packed. And that literally had not even officially started yet. It was crazy.
Yeah, 85 cars by Friday morning, Friday midday, there were 156 cars in there. Someone had counted, and the total car count, which some of these people think like that's not a lot of cars because they have some car show where it's like everybody shows up for 3 hours, right? And they get 300 cars, whatever. We had 235 cars plus minus, right? Like right around there. And it was packed. Like fire lanes were blocked, like everything, which the hotel got a little nervous about because it was like people would move a barricade, sneak a car in, and like just like take up every possible inch, right? So
Yeah.
Some of the things that worked about it was like Andy was saying, all the cars are mixed together. I've got a lot of feedback that people really liked it, like the old show car specialty days, stuff like that. Like it's first come, first serve. That's where you're parking. You're getting put right there. You're getting this spot, that spot, and everybody's just getting pushed right back where they were. And as you walk through the show, you get to walk past cars you normally, if you're just there looking at buses, you wouldn't walk the bus section. You have to kind of walk around. Some people might get a little frustrated because they're like, well, I wanted to see all of these. Well, you got to walk around the show.
Well, you could, but it would just take a little more effort. But like Andy said, like what I like about that show is it is just like, you just kind of throw everything out there, and how it lands. Like you end up talking to people, like Andy said, that you normally probably wouldn't, which is so cool. Like I love walking up and down the rows and like just seeing all these different cars that, if they were all parked by make or model, I might skip that row or whatever. I love it. I think you need to keep doing it that way.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way.
The only thing that we tried to keep a little bit separate is we tried to put a debut row section with cars that were kind of debuting, and it was as organized as I'd like. And so maybe for the next year, we may have a heavy hitters row, or like anybody that wants to be specifically judged for the event, whatever.
Sure.
But we'll see. We're going to hammer all those details. Next week, I'll be releasing the dates for 2025 because we already have a contract signed. I may see if I can push it back 1 week to hopefully get a little cooler week. Sometimes the issue you run into is as the weather starts changing here, you start getting a little bit of wind and stuff like that. 2 years ago, it was a little bit windy. So, but again, we're working on that part, but getting back to
it wasn't unbearable either. And that's the other thing that I really enjoyed about the strip cruise is like, by the time we go on the strip cruise, like the weather was actually really nice. I mean, it wasn't,
I wasn't struggling.
I know there were still some cars that were struggling, but like it was pretty mild by that point. Once the sun goes down in Vegas, it's good.
I heard people, I heard both levels of feedback from people. Some people were like, oh, it was hot and it was going so slow. We happened to hit a pocket when we were cruising together. Well, we literally went from Caesar's Palace to all the way down to
the
stratosphere.
The special corner shop.
Yeah, no issues. Yeah, Tory almost got us jumped, but that's a whole different. That's a whole different conversation, bro. That's a whole different. Yeah, Tory. Yeah, bro. No, Tory.
They liked the Volkswagens. They were down.
They liked the Volkswagens. They were like, "Who's this wannabe gangbanger?" I said, "Wait, maybe the way his hat was propped, his Dodgers hat was propped up on his head. It was the whole thing."
I guess it was like, I guess I shouldn't have had a Dodgers hat.
Listen, I
won't. Or something.
Won't get into too much of that with Tory and his. That'll be our gang unit special that we'll do on that. Where it was like, and I might start a game like, is Tory gonna die? Like, did Tory just said something questionable to these guys that look like they want to knife him? So, yeah. So the Circle K right by the Stratosphere, not the best neighborhood, but when we rolled in, we kind of rolled in, had the cars on display, went in to get a bottle of water, came back in, took a little 5-minute break there on the curb.
I got some purple drink.
And it was, see, you see what just happened, guys? Now you guys listening know exactly what happened with that. Because it was purple drink comment
you don't even have to tell the story now.
You exactly know what Tory, as soon as Tory walked into the convenience store, he had a limp. And also he's like, what it is, cuz? I was like, who is this guy, bro? What happened to Tory from Florida? All of a sudden, I got Tory from Chicago up in here, dude.
Chameleon, dude. You got to blend in.
Otherwise, you get shanked. This is from a brown guy to a white guy. You were not blending in, bro. And I was like, dude, listen, Tory's getting knifed, and I just don't want blood on the seat of the chop top, dude. Like, he's got to bandage that up, wrap it up, Cobra Kai style, and get back to the hotel.
Just keep the soft tissue off of Zorba. Bro, that's all we care about. Shoot the other direction.
It was a whole scene. But that'd be a new segment we'll play during One Crazy Weekend. Like, where would Tory get possibly jumped, knifed, or beat up?
Yeah.
Like.
But did you die, Bill? Did you die?
No, we're going to call it Tory the Chameleon. We'll put him in these odd situations and watch him acclimate.
Chameleon.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we hit that strip cruise, and I mean, I think from one end to the other, it didn't take us more than 15 minutes to get we got lucky because I've cruised a strip here before, and sometimes on a Friday night, it's fairly well packed. The other
Right.
things that we sometimes have to contend with is F1 that they're doing next year. It's going to be the 25th, 23rd of November, around Thanksgiving time. That's when they'll be doing the F1 here. And so as they do F1, they really start to get crazy with the streets and all that stuff over here. So
I mean, you had a lot of
see.
stuff to contend with because, like, the Mirage was coming down as well. Like, they had a bunch of stuff set up for that. Tropicana, was coming down. There was a bunch of, like, metal plates all over the place, like, on the streets that they had. I'm not sure that's normal for Vegas, but, like, maybe not. Whatever direction you took us was perfect.
Yeah, well, the way,
we
again,
had no traffic.
we got lucky. We
awesome.
got on at Flamingo. There's a little bit of traffic going westbound on Flamingo, entering and exiting the strip, but for the most part, we cruise right from Caesar's Palace down there effortlessly. Listen, I drove Zorba, and Zorba, I was just bumping the tunes. I mean, shout out to my dog Jay. If Jay ain't listening, you better be listening, because I was bumping that system all the way down Vegas Boulevard, and my wife was looking at me like, "What is wrong with you? Who am I in the car with? Can you turn it down?" And I was like, "Look, girl," I was shaking my hair loose. I was like, "Let me just be me right now." And I was kind of like Tory. I was like, "What it is, cuz?" To my wife, she was like, "What's good, cuz?" She was like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I'm Tory. I'm Tory from Cleveland."
I said, "Forget about it, cuz."
Yeah. Hey, who wants to get stabbed? Me, pick me. So
there was honestly a moment where we even had distance between, like, where the cars were way up ahead, and then
we
our
had
little
enough
crew. So
to
we were
shoot.
rolling, like, what, 5-6 deep. Like, it was. We got some good footage.
So the cars that were in our
DiGiacomo and I
cruise,
DiGiacomo and I were next to each other at one point. I was in the chop rod, and then he was in the cow dub. And we're both looking at each other, like, just shaking our heads like, this is just insane. Like, because, obviously he was too young to drive the cow dub in the 80s, and I didn't have, a nice car like Ragtop, back then. And we're literally cruising 2 magazine cars tandem going down the Vegas Strip. It was like the most insane moment. It was so much fun. We just looked at each other and just didn't even have to say anything, because we both were thinking the same thing, just shaking our heads like, this is crazy.
When you looked at each other like, man, priceless, bro. Like,
it was so
it was
cool.
good. It was pretty cool because Steve Connect was there, who built the only car that was missing was Future Shock. To be cruising Future Shock down that,
it was.
And my commitment is for next year to have Future Shock dialed in. I might have to send it to the UK. I might have to send it to the UK.
Oh, no, not that one.
I mean, I just got to get right now. It runs and drives. It just has a little bit of a transmission leak just from the seals drying up for so many years sitting there. And it's
it runs fantastic. All we have to do is reseal the transmission. I think you're good to go.
You hear what I told you said that? You just Camille'd it right into a mechanic.
Looks like I know what you're doing next weekend, mate.
Yeah,
on that plane, come down, reseal that transmission.
It's an hour flight. Come on down. Yeah.
I mean, I tell you what, like, you got me sold on the automatic transmission on that car.
For cruising?
I totally get it now. Yes, it's perfect.
The only thing you gotta have for that when you have the automatic transmission, you have to put an equalizer in the car, because you have something to do with the other hand while you're driving. Just mess with the EQ lights and all that stuff. Fine tune
your stereo.
But that's what I got to do. I gotta by next One Crazy Weekend, I'll have a full system in that car, and I'll have it where right now it's turnkey, other than if you put trans fluid in there, it comes out eventually, and then just makes a mess underneath. And so we got to get that. I got to get that handled. But that car is perfect for cruising, especially with the automatic.
I mean, that is the perfect Vegas car. It really is. It just looks so Vegas.
I think we had in our group we had Johnny, who wanted to fight some bloke on a strip for nearly crashing into him.
Right.
Always entertaining.
Bring that microphone a little closer.
And then we had Russell Ritchie in the freshly finished red Ritchie King tribute gear with Lanny Hussey. I think he seemed either had a problem with his right foot, or I don't know what that was about. Kept slipping off the clutch and doing these massive burnouts.
He was trying to do So Russell's riding the car with Lanny Hussey.
Yeah.
And this is the red Gia. So a lot of people may have seen the red Gia, that you've seen the pictures and whatnot, and it goes back to Andy, tell us about this idea that Russell had. And George is making a video, so go check George's channel at The Wagon on YouTube. George did all the mechanical build process, and then Andy on vacation came over here and got enlisted for like, hey, it would be fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then insert whatever you do for work here. Someone saying that to you.
Yeah. I mean, it was a brilliant idea at the time.
on paper.
Yeah, and to be
There was
fair,
this dream team of painters. Everybody's just going to show up and it's going to be a Broverhallen.
Yeah, well, that sort of just happened to be me and George.
Right.
And,
Bro plus one.
yeah, and it was the reason why obviously Russell bought this car was he had every intention of building this Richie King tribute car because no one knows where the real one is, if it's probably alive, which it probably isn't. So he bought a really nice condition 65 Carmen gear, sent it down to George, and that real nice condition car, it was just a proper 80s just junker. It had more holes in it than anything. So George spent...
It was it's what I call a California special. Like, car's been in California its whole life, dude. It's solid. Like, and you get it and you're like, what's this weird rust here and there?
So obviously George spent a lot of time getting the car mechanically sound, everything front to back. It had a new motor in it, had a new gearbox in it, had a new beam in it, all new brakes, brake lines, you name it, he'd done it all. The car was white with a black roof, and then Russell decided he wanted it red. So and he asked me if I would, we'll just do a 1 day special like we used to back in the day, just for a laugh. Well, obviously I got here not thinking we're actually going to go through with it, but obviously Russell had other ideas. So I spoke to the paint company, Automotive Art, and told them what we were doing, and said we're going to do this thing and we're going to put it on YouTube, and we're going to do like a 2 day makeover on this car, which actually took 3 days. And they just gave us all the materials for the job.
Yeah, that's Automotive Arts, the company that ponied up all the supplies to get this car
which was
painted.
a lot of money. So I was fully committed then. I couldn't go back, and I couldn't say, "Oh, I'm not going to do it." So when we got here and spent a few days doing what we, settling in and whatever we had to do, and then on the Monday morning, we just got to it, stripping this car down.
Sunday.
Was it Sunday?
It was Sunday.
Are you sure?
I am positive. Because my brother's like, "What are you doing here on Sunday?" And I'm like,
"Oh yeah."
Oh, Andy just called me to come down and give me a hand for a little bit.
Sunday,
I shot in there before church, help out for a little bit, and because you were like, "I'm going to be there at 6 a.m." I'm like, "Well, I get up early. I'll just run down there."
That's right. So we stripped the car down, and we got it prepped and primed that morning. No, it was Monday.
Monday
Monday.
the prepping and priming. It was Sunday.
Yeah. Sunday we started. When did I go to the football? Was that the Sunday?
I think
you only worked half a day.
Disassembly was Sunday.
Okay,
yeah,
right. So
I
spent 4 hours in the morning stripping the car down. All we did was strip the car down, give it a quick buzz over to see what we got to do. Dug the bits of filler out that were just hanging out of the car, and just generally assessed what we were going to do. And then obviously the Monday morning we were in at 6 o'clock in the morning.
You can only work a partial day on Sunday because. Shout out to our guy Audio Dave for hooking up my boy Andy with some Cleveland, some NFL tickets, right?
Yeah.
To fully round out your American experience, you got sent to an NFL game.
Yeah, so we went to see the Raiders and Cleveland Browns.
Yes.
Which was it was an experience because obviously in the UK when you go to a football match, as in soccer, you're completely separated. The two sides are separated. They're not allowed to be together. Obviously things can get a little bit tense. But here, everybody's mixed together, which I just found was quite odd. But and we.
So you're surrounded by some Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
And then across from them is a couple Raiders fans.
Yeah, and next to us on the left were Raiders fans, and the guy next to me, I didn't even know what he was. All I know is he'd drunk way too much, and he was asleep. So he'd obviously he'd spent a lot of money flying in from Cleveland to sleep next to us. The guys in front of us, all they did was eat the entire contents of the ground. But yeah, it was good. It was really nice. Audio Dave, absolute legend. Thanks for that. It was an experience I'm never going to forget. So that was my Sunday afternoon taken up. So I planned on a Sunday to get most of the car done. Yeah, that didn't happen. So Monday morning, we were in at work at like 6 o'clock in the morning. It might have been earlier. And then we just got to it. By lunchtime, all the repairs were done. The car was in primer, all the bits we needed to. George primed that. And then we went for lunch, came back. Obviously, we put it in the special outdoor spray booth because it's like 9,000 degrees here. So by the time
so back home in your booth, you've got a thermometer on it. You turn the temperature up and you bake on.
That's right.
The primer. Here in Vegas, you just primer the car, push it outside, and let it naturally heat up in the sun because it gets to about the same temperature.
Well, it's actually hotter here, I think, than in the booth. So we had some lunch, came back, and the car was absolutely baked solid. So then we just prepped the car, and then we were going to go into the booth on Tuesday at Hartlauer Signs. They kindly said that we could use their spray booth, or more like a spray house, because it was that big. Because they do all the signs for Vegas and all the big neon signs. I mean, this thing's massive. You can get a semi in here, you know, a double-decker car transporter. It's that big. And by about 4 o'clock, we decided that we were going to hit this today. So we kept going, and we got it. Bill came down, picked the car up on a trailer. I think it was. We got to the Hartlauers about 7:30, was it?
Yes,
7:30, 8 o'clock. So it was still light. Prepped, you know, got it up on the stands, masked it up. We then started painting it at about 9:45 at night, and then finished the car painted at nearly midnight. Had to clean the place up. We left the car in the booth overnight. We then went to George's, dropped George off. I took George's truck back to mine. I got into bed about 2:30, and I was back at Hartlauer's at 5:30 to get the car out of the booth. Obviously, Bill came down to help me out, put the wheels on, and then off he went.
Well, I remembered that George's manual tool, and I just texted you. I said, "Do you have an impact?" You're like, "No." I said, "All right, well, I'll come down there real quick with an impact."
And it was a real 80s. We've tried to follow the theme of the 80s build, as the fact that I couldn't remember how we used to build so many cars in such a short space of time. Because when we were kids, we were building cars. When your car was off the road, you were walking, or you were on a push bike, all your friends were in their cars. So you didn't have time to have a 6-month car build or a 12-month build. We had no money. So we literally we'd just master the car up, prep it, paint it. You got a really nice show car for a few months. By that time, it started to deteriorate. So you'd obviously either go and get another one for however and do the same sort of thing. So we actually had a real laugh doing it. You know, the rust holes were just filled, and, you know,
I mean,
everything was masked up.
It was an 80s build,
Yeah.
kind of a cosmetic restoration. Yeah. George did a lot of the mechanical stuff underneath, but the core of the car, if it were like a desert dry vehicle, it would be like the way it is now, undercoat the underside, and you're done.
Yeah.
Like, it would be pretty much a done car. You know, Russell had the interior shipped in, so you had to put the interior in a day later, but you only worked on it. You didn't work on it the rest of the day, and then you guys just blew it out in one day, finished off the interior on it, which was traditional, like Recaro seats, red dash, red door panels, everything's red. So it's red on red on red. And I think what was different about the 80s for this build was we took the trim off and painted it separate versus like leaving the trim on, which you've probably done in the 80s.
It was an exact copy of, as best as we could from the pictures in 1984, was it?
Yeah.
Was it 1986?
It might be 86. I'll pull the cover up real quick.
And, you know, it looked so good for what it was in the time, and we just had such a laugh doing it. And Russell obviously popped in for the last 5 minutes of the build to help build it. You know, obviously you helped Tory and got shouted at quite a lot, and then you know, Bob Daniels is in there. He's doing all the work. Everyone sort of just chipped in and put the car together, and we got it done. And, you know, Travis, who was over on holiday as well, I dragged him in, and we were cutting up box section to weld to the seats and put to the floor. It was literally done and driving and finished on Wednesday morning.
Yeah, Wednesday morning. July 86 issue of VW Trends.
Yeah.
Where there's a guy on a bicycle. What's his name? Stu? What's the guy on a bike?
Silly Sid Salisbury.
Sid Salisbury.
Silly Sid,
is doing. Yeah, Silly Sid's doing a little cross up. Looks like on a quad angle.
Yep.
Over the car. And so the cool part was when the show was wrapping up, or before the show was over, we kind of pulled the Gia out, moved it to the back, and I had Matt with Air Cooled Entertainment show up, and we kind of recreated that picture in the back parking lot of the hotel where a bunch of us sat in the car. Then there was a bunch of people on the outside of the car, and we had Matt jump over the car. We're all standing there. And what was super cool about that picture is, you know, there was a lot of people that were involved in the build process. In addition to that, there were people that were contemporaries of the 80s that were in the background, standing in the background. So Steve Connect is there, Jack DiGiacomo, Junior, Senior, you know, all these people are in the picture that had something going on, that have a connection either to the 80s or today. And it was really cool to be able to kind of solidify that.
Circle moment. Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, no one really knew that was going to happen, and it was all very spur of
the moment.
And
yeah,
it was just
like they were there, and I'm like, Steve, you got to come back. You got to be in this picture, man. I want you to come check this out. We're going to recreate this picture. And I was like, you guys need to get in the picture. Like that is just so cool because it's one of these things. Like if you know, you know, and paying homage to being part of a photo shoot that we're recreating from back in the day. And then it was the thrash to get the car done that you and George did, like all this stuff. And then the payoff of like doing the picture, whether the picture gets published or not, it's really the theme for One Crazy Weekend. Like if you think about it, right, whatever you could imagine that would happen, like, oh, would it be cool if this, and then boom, that happens.
It happens.
Yeah, there was no.
It was cool.
There's health and safety. There's none of this, and I say that in a light-hearted way. It wasn't like anything was, oh my God, someone's going to die. It was just like, this is what would have happened back in the day. Just like, let's do this, and no one really cared. And it was just brilliant. And to do it, and I know there's already been people, why are you copying something from the 80s? Well, because we can.
Right.
And that's
because the
it.
original car's not around anymore.
No.
And people, that car meant so much to you guys in the UK.
Yeah.
Like, I was happy to see it was getting recreated. That's so cool.
I thought it was brilliant. And do you know what? I had so much fun doing a car build where it didn't mean so much, it didn't mean anything. You wasn't people judging you, and people weren't going to go, oh, well, this little tiny nut and bolt and that's not right, and look at that there. We done this car, and everyone was like, yeah, that looks rad. Look how nice that looks. And I was looking at this car thinking, oh my God, it's terrible. But from 10 feet away in the sunshine, it looked like a full on show car.
Yeah.
The pictures actually do it justice. They don't do it justice. So I don't care, and a lot of people say, I'm not going to get involved in a job where I put my name to this. Well, do you know what? I can't. I just don't care. I just thought we had such a laugh doing it. Russell, good on him for just, for putting up the idea, and the fact that people helped out. It was all just for fun.
Yeah, Steve Weidman, SNS Air Cooled, supplied a bunch of the parts and pieces for it. So, I mean, really, it was something that was a kind of a wild last minute idea. And then like, boom, I'm going to pull the trigger on this thing and then get things rolling.
No money was changed hands, none of that. It was just something that we decided to do because why not?
Yeah,
that was the only reason.
It was just a passion project. Everyone, it was a total passion project, and everyone, like, it was so cool watching everyone just work together. I have to say, Andy, like, it was cool, like, just looking through the little peephole of the of the booth and just watching you like lay on the paint. Like, that's just like, it's like an artist at work. It was really cool to see. But like, what you guys created in that short amount of time is just nothing short of spectacular. I mean, and just being at George's shop and everyone working together in unison and no one getting all butt hurt because, oh, I got delegated this duty and I wanted to do that one. No, everyone just chipped in and was like, no, we just got to get this car done for Russell. We want to get this picture. It was so fun. It was so cool.
I did. And, I've been here a few years now. This is my third year. And, when I go home, I know my friends back home are going, oh, you keep going on about this show. You keep saying this, you keep saying that. And then now,
so Jimmy Dix came down, right?
Out. Yeah, and
the general,
Travis came out for the first time, and he has just had the most amazing time. And I said, "See, I'm not making it up. I'm not trying to pretend. Oh, look, these guys in America do it better because it wasn't like that. It was just the fact that it's just such a fun weekend. And if you haven't got to ship your car out here, you've got to do all this stuff, but you can get on a plane, you can save up and come out for the long weekend." You can spend the same money going to Spa or going to EBI for the weekend.
And let me ask you this. If someone came out, in your opinion, somebody comes out that doesn't even know anybody, but they come out and they get involved, like, hey, where's everybody going to be? Can I catch a ride with it? Like, right away, you're going to get looped in with somebody. If not, we've got extra rides for everybody. I mean, we kind of put it together where nobody's really left out of this thing.
Right. I think my Carmen Gear there was the pool car of the weekend.
Right.
I think Brian Carron used it for most of the weekend. But he, and it was just like, are you sure? And I said, yeah, man. I was going to just sit in the car park because I was driving my bus.
Right.
And, it's just no bother. But, I was racing around like idiots. You're not worried about that sort of stuff. So, it's brilliant.
Well, and I think that's one of the things where we were talking today as we're driving around. So what's the biggest surprise for you from the States to back home to the UK? And you're just like, you can drive anything here. Like you can just put anything, and it's like, and you're not stressing out. Like when I went to Europe and when I went to the UK and I drove, or I went to Vauxhall rented a car and went in and out of London and stuff a few times. I ended up getting $700 in tickets when I got back because I didn't know about, these accessory buses.
Oh, speed cameras and stuff.
Well, yeah,
right?
I mean, they don't have all that stuff. So that was
right.
That was one of the things where it's a little bit fun and different. And so really the whole thing of it, it's like, and you don't have to even do everything that everybody does, right?
No.
Because what was the other feedback I got from some people is like, if you got hot and tired of being outside, you want to go eat, you go inside and go eat, you come back out, the car show's still going. People are still there. Everyone's doing something different. And you would think you feel like you have this fear of missing out, but it's like, nah, I'm going to go do this. I'll come back. They'll still be there because everybody's just kind of having a good time. And it never really got to where it was like a ghost town.
No.
Like it was always jamming out there in the parking lot.
I mean, when the show part was done, the next thing you know, everybody's at the pool. So you go to the pool, and then everyone who's at the show, who's staying or whatever, they're in the pool. They go back to the car, and then the car show wasn't empty. As soon as you not go to car show, and then as soon as the trophies are given out, everyone's running off. But they didn't. Everyone was like, they left the cars, they went in the pool, they went in a hotel, we went to eat because of the poker run in the evening. The majority of the cars did the poker run anyway.
Right.
So everyone was the show, even though officially finished at 2:30, it was like an all weekend show anyway.
Yeah, and that's part of the premise with the show is just there's no stress. I mean, that's my big thing for the weekend. Like, there's nothing to stress about. People get like real rigid about what time is this, what time is that. I'm like, we're gonna leave anywhere between 5:30. Like, it's not like a hurry up or we got to leave it. And if people are kind of wound up a little bit tight, they may not have the best time here. The reality is if you're easy, and this year we did a program for the event, which kind of had a schedule of events inside. It had a map for the poker run in case you got lost, and it also had the strip cruise map on it too. So that's going to be another thing that we're going to do next year. But the car show was great. Top 20 was pretty. There was a lot of really cool cars there. I got a lot of great feedback on the medallions. We gave out.
Oh, cool. Good.
The neck medallions. And you could just tell by Instagram, the people that won them were just super stoked to hold them up. You know what I mean? Like hold them up and put them in the pictures. I mean, it was something that people really enjoyed, a different type of award than a plaque with a shirt logo or the artwork for the event or whatever on it. So we made, I had designed and made a steel 3/16 thick medallion that hung around your neck that was about 4.5 inches by 6.5 inches wide, and it was 3/16 steel, pretty heavy, so it felt weighty. And then we put a little gold chain around the neck of it, and it kind of hung it around your neck like if you were
Flavor Flav.
If you were Elvis, right? You would have that, right? And it said "Welcome to One Crazy Weekend 2024," and then it had a little top 20 up on the top side part of it. And I mean, the pictures of people posing with their medallions and taking pictures of it, like people were super stoked about it. And so next year there'll be two pieces to it. One will be just the medallion. I'll hand you a separate base made out of steel where it plugs into if you want to stand it up. But I like the hanging it from your neck part.
Because on the Saturday night, everyone's at the bar, and all these people, if they've got these big medallions hanging around their neck, and it's just so funny to see because imagine walking around holding your trophy all night. You just wouldn't do it, would you?
Right. No, you wouldn't.
You've got like 5 or 6 people who are at the bar, all got these medallions on. It was just like, seriously? And that
really?
I just like
See,
that.
and I would love to get a picture of that because it's so cool. I could tell the best part is when I handed out the awards, I made you bow your head and I put it around your neck like you were being knighted. You know what I mean? Like here's the ceremony you're getting. But it was so fun.
Worked so well.
And so that's the middle part of the event. And then it's kind of a cool down and chill until 5:30. And this year we got off to the poker run much faster. I didn't do pre-registration the day of the poker run. There's a little bit of a bog down in the on-site registration. So I'm going to push to have this next year be pre-registration online. And then when you get registered on site, it'll be $20 more. In addition to, you will have handwritten window placard versus a one printed. And so to really push people to just pre-register, so this way I can have fun at the event, because I spend a lot of my time
just makes your life easier.
in and out,
that's
making
one thing
sure.
I feel bad about.
Yeah, well, it's not nothing to feel bad about. Listen, these are growing pains, things we're learning, and being able to get out there and have a good time. But there's a little bit of a cool down period after this, and then we get ready for the poker run. And then you come in, you get your paperwork for the poker run. I hand you your. You came in, I gave you your shirt, you got your card. So we started that at 3:00. So by 4:00 we were done with that. Everybody had their cards and they had their shirts and they had everything ready to go. And then they fired off in the poker run, and that was a blast, like it always is. They went to Nevada Off-Road Buggy, and Marie over there just loves to see 30 people, 40 people flood her shop at once. She takes pictures. She's just like, there's just so much energy when she does it. The guys at SoCal Speed Shop love it. Ross Wolf was there giving out poker chips. And then, you got to do the photo op over at the parking garage at the right next to the Rio at the Gold Coast. We use the top of their parking garage that abuts to the Rio. So you get kind of a South Strip backdrop, which is super cool for a photo op. So we did that. And then the fourth stop, one of the other stops, was the wagon, where George was giving out poker chips. He had a barbecue guy there doing like a pulled pork sandwiches that were just like, they were good, dude. Like they were barbecuing up some good stuff. And so I got feedback. I mean, I literally had people write me emails and say, we had the best time on that poker run. It wasn't everybody, because I've done some of these events like that, where it's kind of like you come to those events, you do it, and you feel like, oh, all these people are already friends and I'm just an outsider doing this thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, right. But what I got from everybody, a lot of the first year people were like, they felt included. They loved it. They just really enjoyed all of the camaraderie. The letter the lady gave me, she said, Matt, it was so cool that everywhere you went, you either got stickers, a poker chip, something to eat, whatever. And then everybody comes back to the hotel. I deal them their final card. And then we started putting the worst hands into a separate pile for the 21 tournament at the end. So we gave away, Ross Wolf gave an extra $300. Pedalworks kicked in $300. And we did a final deal where it was $800 that we gave away after the initial $2,000 was distributed. So second place this year got bumped up to $500, and first place was $1,200. So this is all for tax purposes, so we don't have to give you $10.99, but it's cash money, and it's like you come in, you get dealt your last card. I had ordered 15 pizzas, so like you come in and there's pizza for everybody. There's a bar in there, like. There's so much. And then we had the BMX display, thanks to courtesy to Bob Daniels and Brian Karen, both brought a bunch of BMX bikes down. And we had
all the way from Philadelphia.
We advertised some people to do a BMX display. Some people heard about it, and like one or two people, one other person brought a bike. Next year, we'll have double the bikes, because people saw the bikes on display in the medley room and they were like, dude, I'll bring a bike next year. I'll bring my vintage this. And it was just another layer of cool stuff for people to get connected with. So, and that's what we're going to be pushing more towards next year, is doing more culture type stuff for the 80s and 90s type stuff. So as we start doing that, and if you guys have any collections you want to have on display next year, reach out to me. I'll make a special arrangement to have your collection on display. If let's say you've got a collection of old boom boxes or something like that and you want to have them on display, I'll make sure that we can get some of your stuff put on display, just so it's kind of cool. The vendors this year,
there's got to be guys that have skateboards. That'd be cool too.
Again, this will turn into a VW event that also has 80s, 90s culture stuff tied to it,
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's just,
love it.
That's just the fun part. So, and then the poker one was just crazy. It's like, here you come in and it's like, okay, we got 2 pair. And then for a while it's 2 pair, and then 2 pair get pushed out by a kicker. And then we're stacking up the top 3. And then the final 3, third place was 2 aces and 2 kings, or 2 tens. I can't remember, but it was 2 pair with a high card, right? The third place was a 3 of a kind with the Romero brothers. They were second place. And then first place, Joey Giordano must have been on cloud 9 from Workstat Restoration. So he shows up, his car wins a top 20, And then he gets Buddy Hale's award, right, for his car. And he's on cloud nine. He walks in, hands me his card, and it's like hands me his hand, and he's just shy. And I just got this text message an hour ago, and this is the actual moment when he got dealt his hand, and it was like he comes in and he's literally missing a 3. I think it was. He got 2 queens, 2 3s, and he's come to see me for his 5th card. And it's like, shows up at the table.
Got 3, you ready? Get in.
And so he gets a full boat. He gets a full boat. I mean, this guy he's got a medallion. He won the Buddy Hale Award, and then he's got then he wins the poker run. I mean, this guy I was like, dude, you take that money and go put it all on roulette right now. So, but I mean, it was so fun, and people even that didn't win had a great time, and they said, man, because I was really conscientious to ask people, like, how was it? Did you have a good time? People like, the best time ever. My hand sucked, but whatever. I got a free T-shirt and a poker chip out of it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even leave empty-handed, right? So they got that. Super exciting. I mean, I love dealing the last card in the poker run because people just get so psyched up about that. And to see it's the same thing last year when a guy pulled off a straight. It was just like incredible that we delivered. We dealt the actual card he needed. I mean, you're talking out of 5 decks of cards. The odds of that are pretty wild. So, but yeah, everything was cool. And then later that night, as stuff started winding down, then my car gets backed into by. We have the wild card guy just kind of pulls in because people are kind of pulling in and out of the parking lot. And the only challenge that we have is there's a lot of locals that are used to parking in that lot. Like, people are creatures of habit, and they're like, who's in my parking lot, right? So they pull in, they go to that casino 52 weeks a year. They're there every day after payday, putting their paycheck in there or whatever. And it's like they pull up, oh, what's all this going on over here? Oh, I see an opening. So this guy just comes rolling in. And then the whole crowd's like, what are you doing in here, dude? This is a car show. Get you and your Toyota Tundra out of here. And so this old guy throws it in reverse, starts to back into like a handicap space to kind of do a little bit of a U-turn. And then luckily there was a parking block there, because if that weren't there, he would have done a lot more damage. But he backs into the deck lid on my chop top and kind of wads that thing up a little bit. Then he proceeds to try to I'm gonna hightail it out of here. And so there's a bunch of witnesses that saw and then just stopped him, put his car in park, and nicely removed the keys from his car as we called security and everything. And he got kind of taken away in paddy wagon, whatever. So,
well, yeah, I mean, he was drunk. They gave him a field sobriety test, right?
Well, listen, allegedly. So, but either way, here's the crazy part. I'm glad it happened to me and my car and not somebody else's, because I'd hate to have somebody else have that. And so just learning lessons, it's like next year we're going to be real secure on locking down the lot, more secure than I'd like to be, because I like it to be no stress. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think the weekend was incredible. I haven't posted a single thing since the weekend, and I've been tagged in 50 things that have been posted about it. And I think what's really difficult to compete with when it comes to Vegas is you can't get any better content for your car than in Vegas, right? Cruising the strip at night with the hotel lights in the background. I mean, some of the videos that Micah's putting out is just like, they're absolutely insane. He had Patina Greg's car going down the road, just looking off the chain. And it was just like, it's so good. And if you guys are interested, you guys can go check out some of those Instagram pages. Micah is one of them. And let me see if I get his.
Are they the guys from Desert Dubs? Because I saw a YouTube video from Desert Dubs, and I mean, it's an hour and a half long.
Desert
they did
Dubs,
a great one too.
Yeah, Desert Dubs did it's Driven 60. It's Chris is his name, and he did a ton of content on there.
Props to him, because that had to have taken forever to edit.
Yeah, he did. Alex of Flat4 Media did. Yeah, a lot of people put a lot of content out from this show. And Alex Flat4 Media, he did a reel of me pulling away in the chop rod,
And I mean, it was just like a real quick little reel that he filmed with me like rolling out, and he put it in slow motion and put like a Biggie Smalls song to it or something. It's had like 7,000 views, that reel. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, so people are definitely eating up all of the content from One Crazy Weekend.
There was,
I mean, and just look at the comment section too. That's the real tell, because there's a lot of people that were like, man, I was on the fence about going, but after seeing all of this, I'm definitely gonna be there next year. So I mean, next year is going to be even crazier, because now you have all these people that are like, oh man, I really wanted to go, but I couldn't make it. But for sure next year I will be there. I'm building a car now. I mean, it's going to be huge. You're going to have to move like out of face.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to next year. I think people that didn't come that came again this year, and there were people that were here for last year, but and saw how big it was this year, and they've just tripped out. They're just like, man, this is insane. I'm coming back for sure next year. And you know, there's so much there's just so much action happening all the time that it's just, again, it's a weekend, and it's like, I mean, when it was done, it was like, dude, that was crazy. Like it was just, there's just so much happening. And hopefully next year there'll be a little bit of a BMX performance display with Air Cooled Entertainment, have Matt out there jumping some cars and doing some stuff. Just kind of cool. And then
I think there might even be like an 80s build off next year, is there?
There could possibly be an 80s build off for next year. There'll be a couple cars, maybe the same treatment, get chewed up and spit out real quick, kind of an 80s build. So no pan off restorations, just what you would do back in the 80s, which was the 67, the giveaway car that I have at my brother's shop. That was the plan with that a long time ago. You know, I think that video's been out for 4 years. And that car's still going to go out. I'm working on. I'm going to get a title for it. Somebody will end up with a nice 67, regardless of what my brother thinks. And I'm like, dude, we're giving that car away. He's like, no way, give the 68 away. I'm like, it'd be even more legendary to give away a 67. But yeah, overall, man, weekend was a huge success. I can't tell you how many people I heard from that went and were super happy, and people that didn't go that were like, I'm coming next year no matter what. It looked like a great time, and I'm like, man, it was. You know, and somebody hit me up. One of my friends came in. My friend Mitchell came in from Tennessee. He moved to Tennessee and had a Volkswagen a long time ago. One of my buddies from way back in the day. He showed up, and I was like, he's like, hey, bought tickets to the poker run. And I was like, well, we'll get you somebody to ride with or whatever. This is when I was talking to him on the phone. And then I had a couple cars. I'm like, here, dude, just take the chop top. And so he took the chop top on the strip cruise, or he took the chop top on the poker run. He took the double cab on the strip cruise, and he was just like, he and his wife sent me a message when he came. She said, we had the absolute best time ever at any event ever, because just cruising the strip, rolling down the street when you're with a pack of Volkswagens and you're just cruising, it's fun no matter what.
There's nothing better than that. Like rolling deep with your friends, like that is just so cool. And like I have to say, dude, like I have not laughed that hard in a long time. In like when the whole show was over, you know, and like I flew out. What was that? Was it Sunday night? Yeah, I guess it was Sunday night or Monday night. I don't remember what night I flew out, but like you so it was Monday. Yeah. So like when I got back to Albuquerque, like I was on such a high from like the whole week before, because Bob and I got there the Monday before. So I was there literally a week. So it was one crazy weekend for me. But
Tory, what you got to understand about me, Tory? I'm not excited to be here. This is Bob. I've been driving 29 hours straight. 32 hours to get here. You don't understand. I am tired. I'm tired, Tory. We invited Bob to be on the podcast, but it was past his bedtime. So, you know, hey, Bob's not here. Bob's not here.
When I got back to Albuquerque, I think if you remember, I think even the police were happy to see us drive down the down the strip. They were calling to Buddy when they were. Was it because they knew him or
no?
Try to give a shout out.
Get back in the car, sir. Get back in the car.
Sit down.
Sit down.
Oh yeah, that was it. Oh,
sit down, sir. Don't stand out of the sunroof while he's a frat girl. Woo, woo, hanging on the top, freaking out. But that's the funny part, you know. I was talking to Marco and Kathy, and she said she had heard on the last podcast where I said, "Man, these girls hopped in my bus and they turned 16 again." And she's like, "You're exactly right." She's like, "We got in that bus, and we're like," and what was so funny is during the poker run, there was Mike Preston and some of the guys from up in Northern California. One guy lost his keys to a square back. Mike didn't want to take the thing. And so there was this whole drama. I'm like, bro, just take the limo bus and go. And so he grabs the limo bus and takes his whole NorCal crew on this thing. And it was like, people are like, you just loan your car out? I'm like, yeah, I mean, whatever, dude. I know the guy, the car's insured. They're going for a cruise. It's a Volkswagen, dude. They drive Volkswagen. So I'm sure they're ready to fix something if something happens. But you know, the whole,
well, and the irony being, like, how many times did you throw your keys to, like, you know, just anybody? They drove the car, everything is fine, and then your car ends up getting backed into while it's parked in the parking lot. Like, the irony of that to me is just like,
well, the irony is you were throwing my keys to everybody, like, here, who needs a car? Who needs a car? Take this one. I'm done driving it. Who wants it next? But really, again, back to what I was saying about the limo bus, it's really about people having a good time. And when I see people like, my car's broke or this, I'm like, nope, go have a good time. Take my car and go. And really, that's the whole weekend is all about that. So
it really is. And I feel like I gained this whole, like, new group of UK friends. Like, Trav's awesome. Love the General. You know, you, Andy, obviously, and Dee Dee. Like, I mean, we had so much fun just sitting under the tent and just laughing and, like, you know, me asking about, like, what is it like in the UK with this? And, like, you know, what's different here? And just, you know, God, I just, you know, and then to come back home and then, like, you miss all these people already. And, like, you don't, you know, I haven't laughed like I laughed back then.
I mean,
it's like,
could you imagine? I mean, you know, you're having a weekend like that and then it's going back and then just, you know, buying an next show car just because you need a car for next year. I mean, who would do that?
Right. Yeah.
I can't, clearly someone with a Volkswagen problem.
Yeah. So it'll be good. I'm excited. I'm excited for next year, guys.
Yeah.
I think, again, I know from the feedback I got from everybody, next year is going to be much bigger. We've got a couple things planned to make it a little more exciting, and I'm going to have some opt in if you want something extra to do. And I may just put a tour thing together after having touring the car. I may put a tour thing together of some addresses of old mobsters' houses, just so you go take a picture of your car in front of an old mobster's house or an old celebrity's house or whatever. And we'll see. I'll come up with some fun things to do. That's just kind of free reign. Do it on your own. Just something for you and your guys to go do, which would be something cool to do. I know next year from the UK, we'll probably double the attendance because everybody's having some of that FOMO. And we've got enough cars here, and the limo bus can take a whole bunch of Brits down the strip at once. And you know, especially when the General comes down. And my favorite's the name the General is sticking, General Jim Dix. And when he comes down and he can have a good time, that means anybody can have a good time. So I'm really looking forward to shout out, salute to the General. Thank you for your service, and appreciate Trav coming out. Trav, I mean,
he's already
got the fanboy
year
with Adam Wick.
Yeah.
Like I was so happy he got to meet Adam and see the shop. Like, that was so cool, man. Like,
yeah. Hopefully next year we might set something up a day early just to have. I'll convince Adam to maybe have an open house or something like that, where he could just have some people come through and check out the shop. Killer. So yeah, we're working on making it more of a fun, like, show up. If you show up a couple of days early, again, it's a no stress thing. You can go, you don't have to. Your car, the more important thing is where it's big time no stress is your car is safe. That's where it's no stress. Your car is in a safe location and you don't got to worry about anything. So that's really the big
except
thing for
drunk
me.
patrons backing into it.
That's
no.
not.
Well, that was at the end of the show.
Kidding.
Yeah.
I'm totally kidding.
But the reality is that's something we'll change this next year because we're really going to control who comes in and out of the space this next year.
Yeah, for sure.
And obviously, being if you're going to move it onto the roof of the parking lot, you know.
Yeah, he'd have to be really drunk to back up 3 stories.
He deserves to crash into all the cars if he does that.
Right. So, well, guys, I think we covered everything about the show. If you guys got any questions, you can shoot me an email at bill@letstalkdubs. Don't forget to follow Andy the Paint, follow VDubber for life, and of course me, Let's Talk Dubs, if you're listening. And don't forget, you want to support the podcast, go to letstalkdubs.com, click on the store to get some merch to support your favorite podcast. And if you've given us a 5-star review, you get a shout out on the podcast. Anything you guys want to say before we wrap up the podcast?
I just want to say thanks for putting on just a killer show, man. Like, you and George, I feel bad because you guys were constantly running around, you know, back and forth from the shop, you know, inside, outside. You know, I just want to personally say thank you for, like, putting on that show, because I know that you didn't get to enjoy probably as much as you would have liked to because you're so busy running around like a crazy person. But, like, coming from someone that did get to see a lot of the stuff, I just want to say thanks, man, for putting on the show. That's seriously like the most fun I've ever had at a Volkswagen show.
Well, good.
I'm having serious withdrawals. I'm already counting down the days until the next one. So I'm excited to hear what the dates are going to be. And I would definitely say, like, when Bill releases those rooms to, like, get pre-registered and do that. Don't wait until the last minute, because they all, the price goes up. So, it was super affordable. Yeah.
It's like, the rooms are so nice, but, it depends where you want to sleep, isn't it? When you have such a nice room, you can just choose the floor. Could you?
You could.
We can't all have the high roller suite like you, Andy. So, you had 3 TVs. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but it's always, you just sleep on a bathroom floor. It's
Listen,
always.
Yeah. Well, that's sometimes Andy likes the bathroom floor like a dog because it's colder on the tile.
Yeah. But, so next year, can you like find a suite that has the little tiny TV in the bathroom so you can at least see that while it's like
and
the toilet,
the hardwired phone. But I definitely one thing I forgot about is the missing trophy. Oh, shout out to Lanny Hussey, man. I appreciate Lanny so much for coming down. And Lanny made a really cool, like an old gas topper style gas. I guess it would be called a gas pump.
Like
topper.
A globe.
Like gas.
Yeah, like a globe.
Yeah, it's a globe that goes on top of an old gas pump. And somehow Russell and I were in charge of it. I'm really blaming Russell because he was the last one to touch it. And then from that point forward, I don't recall seeing it again. So... but Lanny made this great award that somehow disappeared. So, shout out to Lanny Hussey for doing that. Shout out to Spike for building a custom skateboard for the award. This was a full skateboard, wheels, tires, everything like ready to ride with exception of it, metal flake paint. But everybody loved the awards. Everyone loved the Specialty Builder Awards. I know Buddy's already talking about doing more Specialty Builder Awards next year. He's excited. Everybody leaves the show as excited and they want to contribute more to the show next weekend or next year. We talked about for next year, there's possibly going to be a bowling tournament and a poker tournament as well. So we'll see. Those,
that's cool.
Those details are getting in the works. Those will be put on by Ross Wolf and VW Trends. And I'm sure we've got more people that want to sponsor and be part of the event. Andy, anything you want to say before we wrap up?
No, I can't wait till next year. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to going home to the rainy England, but hey, it get me head down and get ready for next summer, and look forward to it again. Start saving up, and I'm just looking forward to and seeing ever again. I can't wait to just to have the laughs that we have done.
That's it. Well, guys, I appreciate
and dude, so I gotta say too before we leave, like, killer job on Zorba, man. Like, props to you, Andy, because I know that was not an easy build, and I mean, watching that car get unveiled and riding in it, like, dude, that car is just epic.
The customer
Seriously,
was difficult.
Yeah, thanks, mate. My team and just absolutely smashed that one out.
Yeah.
I'm proud of it. I'm proud of what my boys have done. Everyone knew what they were doing, and it's just, my biggest fear was obviously Bill not liking it after we were doing all that work.
He just kept staring. I was looking at the car, just staring at me like, what? Trying to. And then George says, "Hey, man, don't be too worried about Bill's reaction. He really doesn't put a lot of emotion and stuff when he sees things or whatever." And
yeah, I think we did it right.
It hit me in the feels. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a link to George's video, the unveiling of Zorba the Ghia, and. Yeah, that was great. I'm super stoked to have that car right now, my new favorite car, and it's got beats for days, dude. So big shout out to Jay, Chris, and Megan at the shop for helping out, and Dee Dee, everybody involved in that whole thing, Pablo, the whole shot. So I appreciate everybody. I appreciate all you guys for listening. Don't forget to share the podcast because we love to grow the podcast when you guys share it organically. And until next week, guys, later.
You probably don't know that there's a new Volkswagen out that doesn't look like a Volkswagen.